Hey folks, it's Tim McClellan from Western Heritage Furniture. I'm here again on the second series of the videos on the pool table. What we had in the first series was the table in its very basic components, what was being used in the elements of the table. Now we're at number 2 video, which shows those components in a more finished state. So I want to go through some of the details and the exciting progress that's happening here with this pool table. Bring you down here and we'll look at the original wood that we talked about in video 1, the oak beams that we used for the superstructure. Hand-hewn oak beams cut down between 200 and 250 years ago. Now they're here, they're installed, and they're very finished and polished. Still with all that rough character from the original craftsmen who cut and hewn these beams, but very highly polished and very finely finished. I'd like to bring your attention also to the leatherwork, which is now installed. The tooled leatherwork here is done by a craftsman out of Buena Vista, Colorado. His name's Philip Smith of Steel Strike, and he does some of the world's best leatherwork. If you'll notice the details when you zoom in here, the colors that he's used with the airbrush. It's a very beautiful combination of antiquing that he's done on here. It's just fabulous. As well as a hand-tooled silver concho here in the center of the panel. Also, the copper panel has been installed now too, and this is a wrinkled copper. We here at Western Heritage like to use copper whenever we can in a piece of furniture. Jerome, our hometown, is a copper mining town in Arizona, and so we employ a little bit of copper in most of our furniture. I'll bring you up here to the edge also, and we can look at what Philip's done with the tooling on this border. It's very, very meticulous, and his attention to detail is fabulous. It's beautiful work here, and it finishes off the rail. On the end cap of that, what you'll see is this is actually a wood that was salvaged from railroad ties. This wood is actually a rosewood, and it was used literally as a railroad tie. I'll show you what the wood looked like in its native state as it was found in the railroad. Doesn't look like much from the outside. It looks like an old piece of wood. But when you get in here and start cutting this, it is just unbelievable, fabulous, hard wood. And so I've used this wood as a salvaged piece of Americana, you know, something that moved the trains west. And we've employed it here on the end caps, on the leather tooled rails. Another thing I want to show you on these baskets, which are very traditional on old school tables, the leather baskets, but also the fact that each one of them has a little silver concho. These silver conchos, solid silver, are made locally here actually by a jeweler, Noah Pfeffer. Noah Pfeffer, you can look him up online, is a well-known artist. He's been in the business, I think, 20, 25 years. Good friend of mine. He's done these conchos for each corner. Give you a little extra help when you're shooting for that bank shot. It's always so difficult. I also want to point out the sights on the pool table. What you'll see here is the sights themselves are actually made also by Noah Pfeffer, and they are a turquoise out of Arizona, as well as a silver bezel. So each one of these, I'll show you one in its raw state. We'll pull this one out. They're actually finished jewelry, each sight. It's a fabulous piece. As a matter of fact, it'd look great as a ring. Also, we talked about in the first video the walnut that we were going to use in the top rail here. This walnut was cut down 60 years ago in Wisconsin, and it is perfectly seasoned. It has been drying and settling for the last 60 years, and the guy who brought it to me, about 80 some odd years old, he hand cut the tree down with an axe and basically had it stored for the last 60 years. So it's not a recycled product. It's never been used before. But so this tree probably was 150 years old when he cut it down, and that was 60 years ago. So it has a lot of age and history to it, and it makes for a beautiful top for this deck right here. So that's the table. What you're seeing here is you're still seeing the raw slate. This slate doesn't have obviously the felt on it, and neither are the bumpers. They're still raw. They haven't been wrapped with the felt. So what we've got here is the bumpers have been installed, and we're just waiting for the felt to go on everything. And what we've got here, I wanted to just go over just a quick detail. This is one of the bumpers, or excuse me, the bumpers here, but this is one of the rails that will go on the piece. And this is one finely tuned piece of furniture right here. So what we've got here is you get to see, in this case, the inside of a pool table. Not too often do you get to see that, but because these two pieces of slate aren't installed right now, we get to see what makes up a pool table. And what makes a professional grade, a quality grade pool table versus a amateur or a low-end pool table is how that superstructure is constructed inside. What we want is we want a super rigid hard surface that doesn't flex or move under any circumstances or conditions, so that when you're shooting that ball across the table, it's staying as perfectly accurate as possible. So what you get to see here is what's inside the table, which I've jumped up and down on it and make sure that it's stronger than the building we're in. This table actually is engineered better and stronger than the floor underneath it that it's standing on. So this table is ready to play some pool on.